and Paradise Beverages.
Security force members storm Parliament in protest. Trade unions want government to settle allowances. And Markham people want renewable power.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thanks for joining us on National EMTV News. After successfully hosting the APEC Leaders Summit in PNG and just hours after the departure of world leaders, frustrated members of the Joint Security Task Force caused extensive damage at Parliament House while opportunists began looting shops in the city. We have several reports on what transpired today. The National Parliament of Papua New Guinea came under attack today as angry police and correctional service officers stormed into the Parliament building and destroyed the main entrance into Parliament House. The looting and vandalism at the Parliament House was out of frustration over delayed allowances owed to these officers for APEC security operations. It's a situation last seen in 1997 during the Sandline crisis, the parliament being taken over by disciplinary forces. Over 300 police and correctional services officers marched to the National Parliament at around midday today. They smashed windows in and around the front office of Parliament at its C wing and destroyed the front office security. The Prime Minister had to be taken into Parliament under heavy security. Staircases and the lift were used to protect the Prime Minister. The government met and had an emergency caucus meeting before the news surfaced that Parliament would resume with normal business at 2 p.m. As members of the opposition moved into the chamber for the sitting, the sound of shattered glass could be clearly heard. It's the highest house of the land and security personnel have made history by entering it and holding it ransom for unpaid APEC security allowances. Parliament Speaker Job Pomat said he deeply regretted the destruction and ransacking of National Parliament properties by police and correctional service officers. Mr. Pomat, who is also the chairman in charge of the Parliament, said he was very sorry and upset with the happenings at Parliament and said that all leaders should feel responsible because some leaders may have had a hand in the drama. The Speaker said this is the first time this has happened and he is urging the government to find those responsible and ensure they answer for their actions. Parliament security officers who were the first to be approached at the main entrance were harassed and personal items such as mobile phones and laptops taken off them, while there was extensive damage to the front door security desk. In a media statement from the Speaker's office on the fracas, he said cleaning was slowly taking place, but the full extent of damages is yet to be established. Finance Minister James Marape says the allowances for members of the JSTF have been processed. Speaking after Parliament rose this afternoon, he said the allowances will be paid out immediately as a priority.
Some public servants who were supposed to pay them didn't go and address them, didn't facilitate the payment. We released money of more than 20 million kina to take care of the allowances.
We will go
and no one went and addressed them that these things are in the process of they're being paid. That's why it just blew out of frustration. I mean, these people who came out in the hot sun, and worked for the country. So I mean, the manner in which they assaulted Parliament were possibly wrong, but they have an issue there. So myself and the Speaker have talked to them earlier. We're going to tell them again that we're looking into their views very, very positively.
Only 2 days following the end of APEC Leaders Week, and one APEC asset has already been involved in an alcohol-related road mishap. Last night, one of the APEC buses crashed into the gate of the Carr Memorial School. The end of the bus was just inches off destroying the school's Grade 5 classroom. Chairman Andrew Solomon calls on APEC authorities to deal with this incident appropriately.
Last night at 8 p.m., one of APEC's 30-seater buses crashed into Carr Memorial's school gate. The crash destroyed the gate and was inches off, demolishing the school's grade 5 classroom. School chairman Andrew Solomon expressed his disappointment as the police arrived at the scene an hour later, and attempts to get in touch with the APEC minister produced no response.
And this is not a good picture that is, painting to the international community of us as the host, the host city and also the host nation of the APEC 2018.
Although the driver and a crew member did not experience any injuries, it is believed that they were both under the influence of alcohol.
About an hour later to respond to the scene, and they managed to pick up the driver, and he is now in the police custody, we believe.
This incident has disrupted classes for the 2,000 students at Carr Memorial. The grade 5 students had to be relocated to doing their end-of-term exams in a different classroom. Chairman Mr. Solomon calls on the appropriate authorities to fix up this mess that was uncalled for.
We now want, the APEC authority to come forward and take the responsibility in putting the fence back and take the bus away.
Lilian Sopera-Kinea, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us.
Whatever our words may be, sing out strong as far as you can see. Whatever language people are taught, come on, everyone join in. An exciting adventure is about to begin. 'Cause there's one thing we all know, when it's time to get up and go. Sharing stories make the call. Our favorite biscuit, the best of all. M now, PNG. M now, PNG. M now, PNG.
Mining na petroleum is kulim ol tisa na building classroom long ol sumatin. Mipla iputin planti money inside long ol health center na all health programs. Mipla i-building road na bridge long bring him service long all people. Na mipla ihalib him long rouse him all kind sick. Na give him clean water long drink long all PNG man Mary by staff healthy.
Mining na petroleum, kamapim good pla behind time long Papua New Guinea.
This platotok ikam long PNG Chamber of Mines na petroleum.
I really love Papua New Guinea and the people here and everywhere that you travel to in the country and their customs and culture. And there's just so much beauty in their smiling faces.
Super interesting, a lot of fun. PNG is awesome and unexpectedly amazing.
You can be hiking an active volcano 1 minute, and you can go down and cool off in the blue waters the next. There's just no shortage of adventures to be had here.
You could see the fish swimming and all the dolphins jumping. It was just a magical experience.
I've been having amazing experience here in Papua New Guinea.
I think this is the most beautiful place I've ever been. With the crystal clear water and the people, there's just no place like it.
Mosin Plaza Garoo Shopping Mall. We bring to you the finest quality brands from Australia, ranging from dairy products, juices and spreads. Come visit us today at Mosin Plaza, Ganavali Avenue, Stage 2, Garoo. Mosin Fresh Mart, store belong you me.
Welcome back. The people of Markham in Morobe province have called on the government to provide renewable power sources that are clean and environmentally friendly. This comes after the government proposed to build a power plant in Markham to be powered by coal. The Centre for Environmental Law and Community Rights is running a campaign to stop coal and burning of coal to produce power in PNG.
Papua New Guinea was one of the first island nations to sign agreements to adopt mechanisms to reduce emissions of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. However, the government has granted exploration license to a coal company, Mayur Resources, to mine coal and build coal power plant in PNG. Selco Chairman Mari Maroroa says the project is ready to start.
Mayor has already signed an MOU between Lay City Authority and Morobe Provincial Government for a new 60 megawatt power station with ability to burn coal as well as use renewable biomass, solar energy and byproduct heat.
The proposed power plant will be built in the Markham district of Morobe province and is set to generate up to 50 megawatts of electricity to help reduce electricity costs in the country. Mr. Maroroa, on behalf of the people of Markham, called on the government to stop this project and focus on renewable energy sources that are clean and environmentally friendly.
Politicians say coal is the answer. We landowners of Markham Valley, people of Papua New Guinea, we do not want coal-fired power or coal mining in our country. We want clean energy. Renewable, healthy future for our children. Coal has no place in Papua New Guinea. We want renewable biomass to power our homes.
During the APEC Leaders Week, the Samoan president also said similar sentiments on bad gas emissions, saying most leaders are blind to see the reality. He said everyone must work together to save the earth.
They've seen in these countries where the leaders are so blind, driven by pressures from pressure groups, so that the leaders are blind to the reality facing the world today.
In an interview, former Chief Justice Sir Anol Ahmed added that most extractive industries take advantage of the people's lack of information and does not consider long-term benefits.
The potential for their being taken advantage of by small token benefits, social benefits, while the long-term disadvantages to the environment, to their lives, are likely to be overlooked by our agencies that are responsible for protecting their interests.
To support this call for renewable power sources and to address climate change issues, CELCO also launched a campaign against coal and dirty energy sources in PNG. Reon Lakingu, National EMTV News.
The cost for sustainable health programs is reliable and less expensive than funding disease outbreaks. This was one of the main points raised by the General Secretary for Papua New Guinea Nurses Association, Gibson Siune, during the presentation of the Nurses Reviewed Awards today. Patricia Kiamo reports.
The cost for sustainable health programs that are already in place is not expensive compared to the cost for funding a particular health program within a period. General Secretary of the PNG Nurses Association, Gibson Siune, highlighted a few recommendations that the health department and the government should consider.
When you look at spending money, a lump sum, to one program within a period, is more expensive than sustaining programs that are currently in place, where you can spread the use of money over the period to achieve maximum benefits. So it is like, once you have a polio outbreak, that basically raises a lot of questions. Polio was first eradicated, but then it came back again. And it is an immunizable disease. When you say immunizable disease, you have to have the cold chain in place. So the question is, do we have the cold chain in place? Do we have MCH clinics operating? If cold chain is in place, vaccines are stored properly to maintain their strength and being administered to the babies. And if there is a regular MCH programs operating, funded and operating, then we won't have polio.
Secretary Siune said the health department should support and sustain programs like maternal and child health clinics in order to prevent outbreaks like polio and avoid spending a lot of money when outbreaks happen.
What should have been done was should redirect their focus and improve cold chain immunization and get the nurses to where they're supposed to be instead of moving out for green pastures. Nurses are moving out from remote areas That is why immunization programs are not reality. As a result, polio came up.
Secretary Sione is now calling on the health department to go back to the basics by funding the health workers as well as the health programs like maternal and child health clinics and immunization programs in order to prevent curable diseases from breaking out in the near future. Patricia Chiamo, National EMTV News.
The recent polio scare in the Highlands and also in NCD has prompted the World Health Organization in the region to act swiftly in their drive to totally eradicate polio. So far, there have been 25 cases reported. Tamara Agavi with the details.
Since the 22nd of June, when the first case of polio was first confirmed in Markham province, the National Center for Polio Response was activated. Since the confirmation of the outbreak, 4 rounds of the polio vaccination have been implanted.
So currently we are the first round of campaign, and again we are going to immunize all children under 50 years old, and we target to 3.2 million children to be vaccinated during that period of time.
The polio campaign have reached the remotest parts of Papua New Guinea with 9 provinces so far with a polio representative in each of the provinces. Dr. Dapeng, Ferron said that the early detection and reporting of the polio virus is important in the fight against polio.
The mother, grandmother, father, grandfathers, and community, please take your children to be vaccinated. Whenever the government organizes a polio campaign, because we need multiple doses to ensure all children have sufficient immunity to block the transmission. And we aim to get the polio out of PNG again and make the PNG polio free again.
Since the campaign, there are more children vaccinated than the target populations, especially in urban areas due to migration and inclusion of transit populations into towns. Tamara Pia Agavi, National EMTV News.
The World Antibiotic Awareness Week began yesterday with the theme Stop Overuse and Misuse of Antibiotics. The purpose of this awareness is to combat the emergence and spread of drug resistance. This week-long campaign will look at highlighting the importance of proper handling, use and management of antibiotics.
Antibiotic resistance is a global issue that is threatening the health and security of both people and animals. The World Health Organization reported that antibiotic resistance is a serious public health concern with economic, social, and political implications that are global in scope, and it has the potential to impact overall global development.
Already today, more than 700,000 people are dying every year around the world due to AMR. Certainly, there will be clear upward trend, which if we continue on our current practice or irregularly use antibiotics, the number of people that lost life due to resistance to bugs may increase as many as 10 million per year in 2050, an enormous number.
The global action plan that this year's Awareness Week is anchored on is to ensure the continuity of successful treatment and prevention of infectious diseases with effective and safe medicines that are quality assured, used in a responsible way, and accessible to all who need them. The Health Secretary called on the public to use this week to start a conversation and educate each other on the responsible use of antibiotics.
Antibiotic resistance affects the young, old, and old people and animals. It is important that we have access to safe, effective, and quality control medicines, that we educate and manage their appropriate use and effectiveness.
Awareness activities will begin tomorrow and include visits to hospitals and clinics, SMS blast nationwide with Digicel, electronic billboard advertising, and online pledges. Addressing the antibiotic threat requires commitment and strategies to engage the general public, professionals, and policy makers across all sectors.
Stop our use and misuse antimicrobiotics. We can all contribute to this by do simple things like what we just repeat many times. Seeking advice from qualified health professional before you use antibiotics. Is prescribed antibiotics, you should follow the health professional advice how to use them. Don't short treatment course because you think you already done well already.
Michelle Awamoromoro, National EMTV News.
Following the destruction at Parliament House, Port Moresby saw looting at several areas as opportunists took advantage of the situation. The looting comes after angry members of the Joint Security Task Force who took part in the APEC security operations demanded that they be paid their outstanding allowances.
Before the widespread looting happened in Port Moresby, over 300 members of the Joint Security Task Force, consisting of police and correctional officers, gathered at the Rita Flynn netball courts in what was supposed to be an official address by JSTF Commander Gary Bucky. However, the frustration from outstanding APEC allowances owed to the security personnel was building up to a point where it was difficult to contain. Inside the complex, another group was waiting. Police Minister Jelta Wong, who had mixed emotions, said he will try his best to ensure allowances for these officers are released as soon as possible.
I will be fighting tooth and nail that every policeman that worked and made sure that their names are on the list, they will be paid out their allowances.
On the operations side, Commander Gary Bucky thanked all JSTF members for the high level of professionalism they displayed during the Leaders' Week.
As a police officer, as a Defence Force soldier, as a correctional services officer, that you have stood tall to display the image of Papua New Guinea in world eyes that we have delivered APEC.
However, he promised the outstanding allowances will be released.
There is no way any policeman that has worked in this, or CS, or defence personnel, or any other personnel that has been engaged for the provisions of security in APEC will not be paid their allowance. They will be paid their allowance. Get it from me. That's what is going to happen.
Thekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
PNG Trade Union Congress President John Pasca is appealing to the government of the day to address the issue of unpaid allowances to the APEC Joint Security Task Force. He told EMTV News that the APEC Organizing Committee must take full responsibility of what has transpired in the past couple of hours.
PNG Trade Union Congress President John Pasca has called on the APEC Organizing Committee to address this issue that has escalated to a full-on attack of the Parliament House and a lockdown in the city.
We call on the APEC Organizing Committee, who should have known from the start that compensation, fair compensation should have been paid, and should have made sure, ensured that this was done. These guys did not just act. They are sick and tired of being made to look like fools.
Though he congratulated the security force in PNG for a successful job done during APEC, he urged them not to take matters into their own hands.
And I congratulate the security forces of this country, 1,000%. Meanwhile, we also appeal to the security forces to hold back and to allow due process to take place and to ensure that it does not escalate.
According to Mr. Pasca, the security forces have been taken for granted for many years. The TUC stressed that they are willing to do what they can to help resolve this matter. Lilian Sopera Kenea, National EMTV News.
This is Tuesday's news. We took a look at stories making headlines overseas when we come back.
You too can now experience the refreshment of pure PNG with True water, sourced from an ancient aquifer, carbon filtered, ultraviolet and ozone treated, and the finest purification with reverse osmosis.
And that means the science lesson is now over. Settle back and refresh yourself with PNG's finest. Reach for a chilled True water. Pure PNG.
In our harsh and vibrant landscape, Dulux Weather Shield is the perfect choice to protect your building against everything Mother Nature throws at it. Worth doing, worth Dulux.
Welcome back to the news. The future of Auckland's famous Pride Parade appears to be hanging in the balance following a decision to ban police in uniform from taking part. That sparked a backlash from the Defence Force, withdrawing their support, and now 2 sponsors have pulled their funding.
Police had such a good time at this year's Pride Parade, they made a special video showing Commissioner Mike Bush in the thick of it. But a special rainbow car and blue line of acceptance doesn't wash with current organisers who've controversially banned police uniforms from next year's parade.
We just don't want to be seen to be pinkwashing an institution that still has work to do.
If you can change a police car and put rainbows all over it, why can't you put rainbows over your uniform?
But condemnation's been swift, with the Defence Force pulling out of next February's event in a show of solidarity. And the Rainbow Charitable Trust's unanimously withdrawn its financial support.
We've been working with so hard for so many years to bring them and us to the place we are today, and to see that torn to pieces, it's just not on and it's not acceptable.
Now the home of the parade could also be under threat, with the Ponsonby Business Association announcing it's disappointed to be withdrawing all support. And long-time sponsor Fletcher Building says it's yet to decide whether it will continue its funding. But the Pride Board's standing by its decision, claiming police need to do much better dealing with transgender members of the community.
Just also where they've had homophobic or transphobic experiences or racist experiences as a result of police behaviour.
Sometimes we do make decisions that make us uncomfortable, but it doesn't mean that they're the wrong decisions. It means that we need to do more talking.
But time's running out, and late today the board announced it's temporarily halting parade preparations.
They're hot policemen and hot policewomen. I mean, who doesn't like a uniform? So why would we not want to have uniforms in the parade?
Not as hot, it seems, as the furore that's dividing one of Auckland's most colourful communities.
A Colorado man who brutally murdered his pregnant wife and 2 young daughters and then made a phony televised plea for them to come home will spend the rest of his life in jail. Emotions ran high in court as Chris Watt was confronted by his parents and in-laws.
Chris Watts first facing his agonized in-laws.
This is the heartless one, the evil monster. I trusted you to take care of them, not kill them. And then you take them out like trash.
He was the one for me, and he is amazing. Their daughter, Shanann, who once gushed about her husband, brutally killed along with their 2 granddaughters and unborn grandson.
My daddy is a hero.
Watts' mother-in-law blasting him for the ultimate betrayal.
Your children adored you, and they also trusted you.
As police searched for Watts' missing family in early August, he went on TV begging for their return.
Shanann, Bella, Celeste, if you're out there, just come back.
Today, Watts' parents saying their son needs to atone for what he's done.
I'd like to begin by recognizing the absolute horror of this crime.
Watts wiping away tears. Prosecutors today revealing gut-wrenching details about how the Colorado father strangled his wife and smothered 3-year-old Celeste and 4-year-old Bella, who they say fought back. The girls then violently stuffed into oil storage tanks. Shanann buried in a shallow grave. The motive, prosecutors say, was simple. Watts wanted a fresh start with a new woman.
If he was this happy and wanted a new start, get a divorce. You don't annihilate your family and throw them away like garbage.
Prosecutors say while Shanann was trying to save their marriage, Watts was texting his girlfriend. And the morning after the murder, he looked into selling his home and even unenrolled his daughters from school. Today, when asked if he wanted to speak.
No, sir.
And with that, the judge handed down 5 life sentences without parole.
This is perhaps the most inhumane and vicious crime that I have handled out of the thousands of cases that I have seen.
A pregnant woman was among 6 people trapped inside an elevator when it plunged 84 floors in Chicago. Safety ropes stopped it from plummeting to the bottom. It took rescue crews another 3 hours to extract the lift's frightened passengers.
Terrifying stories being shared by passengers who plunged 84 floors in this elevator.
I believed that we were going to die when we were falling down.
Jaime Montemayor told Chicago TV station WBBM that 6 people, including his wife and a pregnant woman, boarded on the 95th floor of the former Hancock building and quickly realized something was wrong.
We were going down. I felt that we were falling down, and then we listened a loud noise. Clack, 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 clack.
Officials say 2 cables on top of the elevator broke, leaving only backup safety lines to finally stop the fall on the 11th floor. Complicating the crisis, it was an express elevator, so the shaft had limited entry and exit points. Rescue teams eventually finding the elevator, breaking through cinder blocks to get the passengers out after 3 tense hours. Incredibly, everyone is okay. Experts aren't sure exactly what happened, but that elevator did pass an inspection back in July.
One of the world's most powerful businessmen is in police custody in Japan. Carlos Ghosn, head of car manufacturers Nissan, Renault and Mitsubishi, is accused of financial misconduct, including underreporting his own pay deal to a Tokyo stock exchange.
Slow. It has been slow. But what's important is moving.
For 20 years, Carlos Ghosn has been one of the titans of the car industry, charming everyone from journalists to presidents. But tonight he is in police custody, accused of serious financial misdeeds. At Nissan's headquarters, Chief Executive Hiroto Saikawa made the dramatic announcement. The company found Mr. Ghosn had hugely underreported his pay in Nissan's annual report to the Tokyo Stock Exchange.
For us, the company, this is of course completely unacceptable, and we've been advised by experts that this misconduct is serious enough to dismiss them.
The news has sent shockwaves through the car industry, especially in France, where Mr. Ghosn is also boss of Renault.
It seems to have come out of nowhere. You know, the accusations are crazy, and as I say, as an industry, we're incredibly shocked that someone that is so well respected, you know, he turned around Nissan in the early 2000s from near bankruptcy, could have potentially done something like this.
It has been a day of high drama here in Tokyo, but it's important to note that Carlos Ghosn is not being accused of tax tax evasion. He's accused of misreporting financial data to the Tokyo Stock Exchange. That's something that other bosses of other Japanese corporations have been found doing and have not ended up in police custody. Whether he is formally charged or not, Mr. Ghosn will now be sacked by the company he helped rescue from the brink of bankruptcy. It is an astonishing fall from grace for a man once known here in Japan as Mr. Fix-It.
And back home now, Advocate B. Johnson from US has arrived today at Port Moresby to do awareness on zero-waste lifestyle. This is her first time to do awareness in PNG and is looking forward to it.
The term zero waste is a philosophy that encourages the redesign of resource life cycles so that all products are reused. But it is opposite at home when it comes to zero waste lifestyle.
What we do at home to reduce our trash to 1 jar per year is 1, we refuse the things that we do not need. 2, we reduce what we do actually need. 3, we reuse by swapping disposables for reusables and buying second-hand if we need to buy something. 4, we recycle, but we recycle only what we cannot refuse, reduce or reuse. And finally, we compost, which is rotting the rest.
Regardless of criticism and people not knowing what it was, Johnson was able to show people how to do zero waste at home.
To launch a global movement, and now there are thousands and thousands of people doing this throughout the world, and everywhere all these people throughout the world are showing that it is possible to do it no matter where you live. No matter where you live, you can learn to say no, you can let go of the things you do not need, you can swap disposables for reusables, which are the most important pillars of achieving zero waste at home.
She says zero waste is not just good for the environment, but it will also help in the standard of living.
It's good for your health, it's good for your wallet. We found that we're saving 40% on our overall budget with this lifestyle, but best of all, it's a lifestyle that will make room in your life for what matters most to you. The less you have, the more time you have to really focus on what matters most to you.
She will be doing her awareness tonight at the Lamana Hotel. Podivai, National EMTV News.
Stay tuned for some sporting action in Chukai Sports up next.
Gold Nuggets cheese, chicken, and cheese and onion all just got bigger. A lot bigger. 40% bigger. Look for the new Big Plus 35-gram packs. Bigger packs, better value at the same low price. That's right. 40% more Gold Nuggets in every pack for you to enjoy.
Lady Speed Stick presents Barbara Blade in the heat of the city. More action and adventure. She's always protected and fresh and uses Lady Speed Stick that controls wetness and odor for effective protection that lasts up to 24 hours. She's always fresh, ready for anything and anyone. The new Lady Speed Stick. Fresh, strong, confident.
Hello, name below me Lua Rikis. Taimi Pilai Netball Wantan PNG Peppers national team. May lo practice lo come up good all get a time. Taimi Pilai Pinis, all get a good la passing lo wasim han one time soap me must make him. Before me kai kai or behind lo golo toilet. Also na all get a time midi lo practice wasim han one time soap.
The mining and petroleum industry trains teachers and builds classrooms. We invest millions of kina to run medical centers and health programs. We build roads and bridges to connect communities to essential services. And we help fight tropical diseases and supply clean drinking water to keep PNG healthy.
Mining and petroleum, growing PNG's future.
Brought to you by the PNG Chamber of Mines and Petroleum.
Wednesday on Culinary Journeys. Portugal chef Rose Aviles is on a culinary journey to discover and return with new ideas about culture and cooking. chef gets to grip with some of the Portugal's finest seafood.
I'm fighting, dog.
Culinary Journeys, Wednesday 7 p.m. right here on your number one to watch, EMTV.
TAde Sports.
Welcome to TAde Sports. SB Hunters second rower Nixon Putt will be leaving the club to join the North Devils in Australia. He becomes the club's 9th player to leave this season.
Nixon Putt joined the SB Hunters in 2017 and was part of the grand final team that won their maiden interest Super Cup title. Putt was also part of the Kumuls team in last year's World Cup and this year's 2-game international series against the England Knights. He was a standout for coach Michael Markham this season, being consistent with his astounding performance every week. The 24-year-old played 46 games and scored 5 tries during his time with the SB Hunters. He will join Queensland Interest Super Cup team North Devils and will go up against his former team next year. Also leaving the SB Hunters is Brendan Gotuno. He will be leaving on a training trial with the Penrith Panthers in New South Wales. Gotuno is not the first PNG player to go for a training trial with the Panthers. He becomes the 10th player to leave the SB Hunters.
Travelling overseas to continue their careers and hopefully return as Kumuls. RC Boas, Watson, Boas and Thompson Petty are going to Featherstone Rovers in England. Willie Minoga, Watava Pereira Jr. and Stark Rothermen are going to Barrow Raiders in England. And Randy Barber, Eddie and going to Wynnum Manly in Queensland. As chairman and of the SB Hunters and on behalf of our board, we wish all those players the best. Make sure they're great ambassadors for Papua New Guinea, but maybe good for themselves.
Yesterday, a total of 60 players were named for the 2019 SB Hunters train-on squad. This is the highest number of players that have been selected for pre-season since 2014. Coach Michael Markham says a large number of players were selected for pre-season due to many experienced members of the team leaving to join other clubs.
You know, we're losing a fair bit of our experience in our abs, and so yeah, again the size of players, what they, you know, how they can think and play. But again, this first pre-season where we're not just gonna go leave the football alone. We're working gym, we're working field, and we're also working with the skills. Given there's a lot of new players, so we need to understand each and every one of them properly before we make final call.
Elijah Levet, National MTV Sports.
Following a successful victory for PNG-born Adrian Pang at his recent MMA fight in Singapore, younger brother and former MMA fighter Jamie Pang has encouraged young Papua New Guineans to be inspired. While mixed martial arts is seen as a vicious sport, Jamie says in no way, shape or form is violence condoned.
Even though it may seem like a violent sport, in fact it is not a violent sport. Mixed martial arts practice many virtues such as integrity, discipline, courage, honour, respect is a big one. We do not condone violence on the street in any way, shape or form. You know, we train very hard to get to where we're at, and I'd like the people of PNG to be inspired by this. We are natural warriors, and cage fighting is definitely the fastest growing sport on the planet, and we all have the natural ability.
You're watching TAde Sports. We'll have more for you when we come back. Stay tuned.
TAde Sports.
Whatever our work may be, sing out strong as far as you can see. Whatever language people are taught, come on, everyone join in. An exciting adventure is about to begin. 'Cause there's one thing we all know, when it's time to get up and go. Sharing stories make the call. Our favorite biscuit, the best of all. M now, PNG. M now, PNG. M now, PNG.
queues, no more waiting. Faster, convenient and easy to access. Anytime, anywhere, at home, at work. NASFund is introducing its new NASFund app. There's no need to queue up at a local branch because this has all the information you need about your account. Download to check your contributions, your housing eligibility, or for whatever other services you want. To register, email online or call 1588. Thank you, NASFund, for making my life easier.
Mosin Plaza Garoo Shopping Mall. We bring to you the finest quality brands from Australia, ranging from dairy products, juices and spreads. Come visit us today at Mosin Plaza, Ganavali Avenue, Stage 2, Garoo. Mosin Fresh Mart, store belong you me.
I love the way you taste. I love the easy meal. I love family dinner time. I love my true guy. I love the quality. I love the yummy smell. I love the energy and strength. I love my true kind.
So many reasons, all of us agreeing. So put on your t-shirts and let's all sing.
I love my true guy.
I love my true guy.
I love my true guy.
Let's sing it again.
I love my true guy.
I like my true guy.
I love my true guy.
PNG's rice, the very best rice, 'cause we all love a true guy.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. One of rugby league's biggest names is now facing a charge of aggravated sexual assault, accused of injuring a woman on an NRL Grand Final night. Jared Hayne was released on strict bail conditions after being arrested by New South Wales Police.
Emerging from a Sydney police station after 1 a.m, more than 9 hours after he went in. Jared Hayne, the rugby league superstar who famously chased his NFL dream to the US, arrested and charged with aggravated sexual assault.
Jared, will you fight these allegations? Jared, are you worried your career's over? Jared, do you have anything to say?
It comes after reports emerged last week that a 26-year-old woman claimed to have suffered injuries during a sexual encounter with Hayne on NRL Grand Final night. It's alleged the pair were in touch on social media and he travelled to a house in Newcastle, north of Sydney. She reportedly says she has photographic evidence to support the claims. It's understood a complaint was made to the NRL's Integrity Unit. They referred it to the Child Abuse and Sex Crimes Squad, who interviewed the woman last week. It's the second time the 30-year-old's been accused of sexual assault. He's currently fighting a civil lawsuit in America. The woman there's pursuing damages, accusing him of rape after they met at this bar after a San Francisco 49ers game in December 2015. Local police decided against criminal proceedings over a lack of evidence. Here's what Hayne had to say about it in January.
I firmly denied the allegations. I think I've made that pretty clear.
So far, he's been silent on the criminal charge he faces in Australia. It carries a maximum penalty of 20 years in jail.
It's being labelled a miracle. The Black Caps have pulled off the more remarkable Test victory, beating Pakistan by 14 runs after taking the last 7 wickets for just 41. Their hero, a 30-year-old debutant.
Celebrating one of the most famous wins after the most nerve-wracking DRS wait in New Zealand cricket history.
And it's hitting the wickets, umpire's call. And what a victory for the New Zealanders. They deserve it.
Ajaz Patel's LBW of Azhar Ali completing an improbable 4-run win. Just the Black Caps' 4th ever Test victory against Pakistan away from home.
It would have to rank up there as one of our best wins, I believe.
That win looking impossible at the start of the day, with the hosts resuming on 37 without loss, needing just a further 139 for victory. But by lunch, the impossible had all of a sudden become possible.
That's the beauty. Here it is, a little feather right on lunch.
That wicket, the first of the 7 falling for just 41 runs. Brain meltdowns from Pakistan.
Got to be out. Yeah! Wow! Trying to be a hero.
Precision and passion from New Zealand.
And yes, there it is. And look at Wagner.
The hosts 8 down in the blink of an eye, their fans paralysed into disbelief. And it was that man again, the debutant Patel, luring in another, putting the Black Caps on the cusp of delirium.
Up in the air. Southey. Now he's taken it.
But for nearly 8 overs, the last wicket eluded New Zealand. Players, coaches, fans, everyone on edge. Pakistan surviving a review, inching ever closer to breaking now expectant Kiwi hearts, before Patel etched himself into folklore.
You know, I'm never going to forget this day.
The day a 30-year-old left-arm spinner became a New Zealand cricketing treasure.
And Chukai Sports ends on that note. Up next, the weather details for the next 24 hours.
Chukai Sports. Chukai Sports.
You too can now experience the refreshment of pure PNG with True water, sourced from an ancient aquifer, carbon filtered, ultraviolet and ozone treated, and the finest purification with reverse osmosis.
And that means the science lesson is now over. Settle back and refresh yourself with PNG's finest. Reach for a chilled True water. Pure PNG.
MAPEX Training Institute.
Job-oriented certificate in plant operator and motor vehicle training courses includes mobile crane, excavator, light motor vehicles, semi-trailer, prime mover and many more. For school leavers grade 6, 8, 10s, 12s and the working class. Enrollment is now open for January 27, 2019 intakes. For more information, call us on 323-2063 or email info@mapextraining.com.pg.
The Renaissance Lodge Plus offers you one of the best accommodation choices in Port Moresby. Our 15 deluxe rooms are spacious, well furnished and contain all the necessities you need to feel at ease. We provide Wi-Fi, housekeeping and 24-hour security daily. And our professional and attentive staff will be on hand to ensure you are catered to during your stay. The Renaissance Lodge Plus is as comfortable as home and private enough to be your getaway.
In our harsh and vibrant landscape, Dulux Weather Shield is the perfect choice to protect your building against everything Mother Nature throws at it. Worth doing, worth Dulux.
Burns Peak EMTV Tower between Hohola 4 and Hanobara. 222 meters above sea level and 80 meters above the hill, the communication coverage is 90% of NCD and beyond. It is an ideal location to operate all your communication services. Supplementing Burns Peak is Enuguinea Hill, a 20-meter tower sitting 128 meters above sea level with amazing coverage along Ella Beach, Koki, Badili, Kilakila and Sabama areas. For more information, contact Demasketa on phone 312-9248, 7640-1935 or email dketa@mtv.com.pg.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
Looking at the weather forecast in the southern region, fine, although cloudy in Port Moresby, mostly fine in Daru and Alotau, some rain drizzles in Kerema and showers and thunderstorms in Popondetta. In the Momase region, showers and thunderstorms in Lae, Wau and Medang, some showers in Wewak and thundery showers in Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, thundery showers in Lorengau, Kavieng and Buka, some showers in Kimbe and showers and thunderstorms in Kokopo and Rapao. And in the Highlands region, showers and thunderstorms right across the region in Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundi Awa and also Mendi and Wabeg.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
And that's how it is in the news, sport and weather for today, Tuesday, the 20th of November 2018. On behalf of the entire MTV News team right around the country, pleasant viewing and good night.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Paradise Foods and Paradise Beverages.
It's bedtime.
Brush, 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 2 times a day. Brush, brush, brush to keep cavities away. Brush, 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 2 times
Remember
a day.
to brush your teeth before you go to bed. Good night, kids.
We're in it together. Let's make our home better. You, me, all get to.
Our future depends on you and me. Through God, we already have victory. This is our land, we're proud to be. We're proud to be Papua New Guinea.
Much, members of the press. Firstly, let me take this opportunity to thank you for coming and joining us here in Papua New Guinea. I just want to make a few remarks about the APEC 2018 that has been just concluded.